Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to start a new series of Spirit Island games, and it's going to be a campaign. This is a system that I have implemented into this client, and basically it's a bunch of games that's played normally, but they are a bit constricted in how you set them up. So let me just show you. Here we have a new campaign, and what the client do is we get a selection of 4 encounters that randomizes the boards, the layout, the adversary and the scenario, and we can choose between 4 different encounters, all which have difficulty 1 to start with. And then each time we win, this difficulty will go up by 1. If we lose, it will go down by 1, but with a minimum of difficulty 1. And except for choosing which encounter we want to use, we also get a selection of 4 spirits, which we can place where we want. So these 4 spirits are randomized from all 37 spirits, and we can choose which one we want to use in which board, like this, for example. And then we play the game as normal using these spirits, and if we win, these spirits are put back into the pool of all spirits, but if we lose one of the spirits. So it will be like we lose spirits all the time, each time we lose, and in the end we will have 1 spirit left, and we get score depending on when we lose, we get score. So this is a basic campaign system that I've implemented that I will try out now. To start with, this is the first time I play this campaign, and I'm not going to play it myself. I'm going to use an AI to help me play it and to see how the AI works. And this AI is not as good as a human player, but it is capable of winning adversaries at level 6. Some adversaries, England 6 is very difficult. I never seen him win against level 6 England, but it can win over Sweden and Prussia and so forth. So it will be interesting to see how far this AI can play this campaign, and it will be interesting to see which spirits will end up being the ones that survive the longest. So this is the first 4 encounters that we got, and so we're going to start the campaign now at difficulty 1, and like I said, when we win it will go up by 1, so it will be more difficult every time, and it will choose suitable scenarios and adversaries. It can have double adversaries, it can have extra boards, it can have all the special rules like empty boards, and you can have the thematic board. So there's some variety between each game, and mostly it will be 2 boards, and sometimes it will be 1 board, and sometimes it will be 3 boards. This time we can see here that we only got 4 encounters with 2 boards, so we don't have any say in how many boards we will play, but we can choose between England and Sweden, Sweden and Scotland, and Russia. And 1 will have the Blitz scenario. So let's see, what do we want to start with? So the way I'm going to play this is I'm going to choose which spirits is playing where, which encounter to select, and the positions where we want the different spirits. But when we are actually playing the game, I will let the AI take care of the rest, and I will not interfere with his decisions. And I will play it live, so to speak. I will not have seen the games beforehand, so I will just comment a little bit what it is doing to try to figure out how the AI thinks and if we can improve the AI if you do any mistakes. So that's one of the goals for this series, is to improve the AI. Another goal is to see if the client works as it should, if there is any errors in the rule sets or anything like that. If the card works as it should, if the encounters works, the scenarios. The AI has already played thousands of games using the various spirits, but I haven't really tested the scenarios, for example. So that's one thing that we are going to test. So let's see, where do we want to start? Now, we have heat here. That's a strong spirit. I know from the AI's perspective, he's doing well with heat. Also, he's doing quite well with Behemoth. Fractured and Vengeance is not as good. So we might want to use those first. The weaker spirits when the difficulty is low, I think. So we have Sweden 0. Now for the base difficulty, we only have the escalation effect. And this is a rather nasty effect. What about Scotland 0? That's just a couple of towns. That's not very difficult. I think the Sweden one is actually more nasty. So maybe we'll go with Scotland, I think. And let's do one of these. Now this seems to be rather identical. We have the coast just in a bit, in a bit of different configuration. But let's choose this one, and let's have. Should we take the 2 weakest spirits? Now the AI have big problems with Fractured because this is a rather complex spirit. And I've never seen him really shine here. He doesn't really know how to play it. So this is, yeah. So maybe we will team one of the weaker spirits with one of the stronger spirits so that we have a chance. And the way it works is if you lose, you get to choose one of the spirits to retire, and one can keep on. So we only lose one spirit at a time. And the idea is that every time you lose, you will get score that is equal to the difficulty that we are currently on. So that way we will get scored exactly 37 times because we have 37 spirits. So that's like how the scoring works. And I made it this way so that we always have an incentive to win games, because it's always better to win a game because then the difficulty will go up, and then when you eventually lose you will get more score. So there is no like gaming the system in losing game and throwing games. So it will always be good to lose. So you don't get score when you win, you only get score when you lose. But the longer you win, the higher difficulty it will be and the more scoring you get. So that's just how I imagine I could score this, and to see how much score you can get from a whole campaign. And now this is going to be, of course, a long campaign, at least 37 games if we lose every game, but probably longer if we win some games. Hopefully we will win some games at least, but we will see. So let's start with Scotland, and I think maybe this is a good combination. Fractured here on the A board and heat on the D board. So yeah, let's get started with this campaign. This is going to be game number 1. So here we are at game 1, and so let's get started with this game. Click here.
Initial explore wetlands.
A lot of things happen here, but first we got our presence. Fractured, we are starting in the lower corner, in the upper corner here, and we have 1 presence in the coast, and heat has a sacred site in the middle of the island here. It's a pretty good position. We have gotten our Days That Never Were cards, and these are these 12 cards. We have Sky Stretches, some good nice cards here. We want Sun, Air and Moon for Fractured basically, but more importantly is what players do we get here. And we have Paralyzing Fright, that's a very good card. We have Bargain of Coursing Paths, could be interesting. And we have some other good cards. This is a rather good card. Maybe Sleep Never Waking could be used. Of course, it's a lot about the combinations here, but let's see if the AI can use these cards in a good way. Will it take Paralyzing Fright and go for a Fear Victory? What will it do with this? It will be interesting to see. So let's not analyze this further and just see what AI do. So this is our day's cards, and the invaders start exploring in wetlands.
Turn 1. Grow phase.
So the way this works is I push a button here and then the AI will calculate what to do. So let's do the first turn here and see what he will do. He will do growth option 2, interestingly enough. And he gain a power card. So minor or major, let's see. He will go with minor. So we got 4 minors here. Let's see what he will do with those. He chooses Cycles of Time and Tide. And he can choose 1 power to add to the days that never were, and he added Gold's Allure to his days. Then he had a Presence. He goes Top Track. And he chooses to add it in the center along with Heat's Presence Sacred Site. That's a rather good position, I think. Not too bad. And what do we have here? We get time or we get 2 card plays. And he chooses to gain 1 time. He goes Top Track again. And for the second option, he gets another time. And he continues going Top Track. And that's the end of day's turn, or the growth for days. And now let's see what Heat is doing. He goes also second growth option, Top Track. And he adds 1 presence into the sun somewhere. He goes over to the other board in the central position here. And he adds 1 more. And he, interestingly enough, he opens up the earth and then he chooses to go bottom track to open up 2 card plays.
Play powers.
And now we are at place powers. So we have both the spirits are about to choose powers. We have Cycles of Time, and that's it. So he only plays the minor power that he got. What about Heat? He'll play Stinging Sandstorm and Gift of Searing Heat. That will give him the first level of the innate. And that's it with play powers.
Fast powers.
So we are at fast powers. Let's see, we here play Gift of Searing Heat. Yeah, I have some sound effects for all the powers, and some are less good than others. Maybe this was a little bit out of character for Heat. So target spirit may pay 1 energy to do 1 damage in one of their lands. Where do we want to play that? Well, this is has only 1 health, so he's going to kill that town, I imagine. Yeah. So that gives him 1 fear and take care of that town, which helps with some exploring here, so that he cannot explore his certain lands. What else? Fracture will play Cycles of Time and Tide. So this will add 1 more to Han here. It will add it in the land
Event.
where it will ravage next turn. Now we are at the first event now. And of course in the first turn the event card does nothing.
Build. Wetlands.
But we can see that the event discarded was Snow Brewery without numbers. Now we build, and here we have a disease.
Explore. Jungles.
And then 1 town in each of the others. We have some explore in jungles.
Slow powers.
Now we are at the slow phase. Fractured have nothing in the slow phase, but here we can do damage to explorers. One away from a sacred site that can take care of one of those explorers. And then we have this one that can gather 1 up to 1 your presence and do 1 damage. So that should be useful, I think, somewhere. Let's see what it does. Uses this to take care of that. Take care of that explorer. And then gathers a presence. No, he chooses to skip. This gather up to 1 there, of course, so he doesn't have to do it. So he chooses to stay with those presence. That's okay. He can still do the damage, of course. So
Time passes.
that is exactly
Turn
what he
2.
does.
Grow phase.
He wanted to stay with the presence, so that's perfectly okay. He didn't need to have his presence in the jungle there. Right, so we are at turn 2, and it's a pretty good start. He had taken care of 2 builds, but now we have 4 ravages here, and let's see how we can handle those. So he starts with choosing a growth option for fractured. He chooses number 2 again to get another miner. And we have purifying flame that does 1 damage per blight. So yeah, we don't have any really good targets for that, but that is what it chooses. I mean, it has sun and air, so maybe that is his thinking there, to get purifying flame. And he choose 1 power card to keep, and that is mesmerized tranquility. He keeps going top track, or no, he goes bottom track. And he puts it in the center there. And then he goes more with time. Let's see what he does with that. He goes bottom track. Gain 1 more time. And bottom track. All right, and what about heat? Now heat goes 3rd growth option. He gets a miner. Let's see if we can figure out what he is going to take here. Maybe call to migrate because of the fire and air. That's probably what he's going to do, but defend 4 is off. Also good, of course. Let's see. He takes the call to migrate. 1 more presence. Now let's see, he goes top track. Places it there. And then we have
Play
energy.
powers.
We are at play powers. So now we have 2 card plays here, and he will play 4 times sideways. And absolute status. That gives him his first innate level here. And what does this do? This is take care of 1 ravage, probably. And this also can take care of some things, because we are playing 2 players. So this is useful. Let's see what he can do with that. What about heat? He will do call to migrate. He has 2 card plays, so he can also play sweltering exhaustion. That gives him the first level again. So that's one reason this can be a good card here, because he can use the innate with those elements. So that's
Fast powers.
is what he did there. We are starting with smoldering exhaustion. Or wait, we don't know yet. Let's see what it does. Start with 4 times sideways. Move 1 of your presence to a different land with your presence. On the board, move 2 during the event phase, resolve invader, and each land actions 1 fewer time. On the board, move 2, do it 1 more time. So this is a really powerful effect. So that can take care of 2 ravages, and having 2 ravages on the other board. And if it does absolute status on one of those lands, that could reduce number of ravages quite significant. So let's see what it does here. Where do we want to move from? It chooses the left board. Where does it move it to? To this board here. Okay. So he will do things one fewer time on the left board, and on board D he will do invader actions one more time. So that means he will build 2 times here, and he will do ravages 2 times here. So he probably want to stay this land then. He cannot reach this land, but he can reach, he has a sacred site here. Okay, so he can reach both lands because it's range 2. So let's see how we use absolute status here. I would imagine that he want to play it on either of those lands to take care of that double ravage. Played it in this land. That makes a whole lot of sense. So what he will do with this land then? Can he take care of that somehow? Skip up to 1 ravage build action. So that takes care of 1 ravage. I don't think it will take care of both. So that cost 1 time, and he has to return that time somewhere. And he does that on the top track. And that was absolute status. So that's played here. So that will take care of both those ravages. So let's see how he continues. He played smeltering, exhaustion. He can take care of the build also, of course. Yeah, that is what he did. Because the disease will take care of 1 build, but he will do 2 builds. So this will take care of the other build. So we only have this ravage then. That will happen. The hand trade with the invaders. So here he can choose to ignore the interest. Then Daha does not participate in ravages. You can choose to display your wrath. You can get some fear, or we can do, if we have air, we can do the 3rd option. We will have some defend from Daha. That's really good from next turn on. So this is a permanent effect, but we have to forget the power card. Yeah, let's see what it chooses to do. We have some air here, and we have some air here also. So we already have 4 air. So we can do the 2nd option if we discard some air or forgets some air powers. So let's see what it chooses. It chooses to display your wrath, and that's aided by fire. And we also have fire, 2 fire, so we have to do some cost here to do that. And what does that do? Each spirit with the hand in their land destroy 1 of them and generates 1 fear. So he is going for fear here. So let's see how that works out. So like I said, we have 2 fire, but it's 2 fire per player, so we need 2 more fire. So let's see how he pays for that. He has only 1 energy, so he has to discard this probably. It's the best option to get that 2nd fire, or this is also a possibility. He goes with fractured to discard power, and that is purifying flame. Right, so that took care of the cost, and then we have each spirit with the hand, destroys 1 of them and generates 1 fear. So he does that first with heat. He chooses to destroy that Dahan, get 1 fear, and then we have fractured. It destroys this Dahan and get 1 fear. So that, of course, we lost some Dahan, but we got some fear, and we do not have to do the other options. Maybe that is, it's an okay choice, I'm not sure. It seems like losing that Dahan is painful, but what happens next? Push 1 disease to the adjacent land with the most invaders. That's not good because we wanted to use that disease. That's the only disease that we have. We don't have any disease here. We only have one here. So we have to push this one to the one with the most invaders, minimum one. And we cannot push it in here because this land does not exist. So that's why we have to push it in here. And here it seems like we have some kind of issue here. Push one disease to the adjacent land with the most invaders. We are not supposed to do that again here for each board. We are pushing this twice. We are not supposed to do that. Some bug in the client here.
Ravage. Wetlands.
So that's not correct. So let's fix that. We go into admin mode here and just move this disease back here. Because yeah, there was some error in the logic. I will fix that later. Because we don't have any disease on this board, we are not supposed to be able to move that disease when we are doing that board. So the disease should be here, and we are doing the first ravage here. And we have 3 lands that are ravaging. This land does not exist. Now these lands will not have any ravages because of poor time sideways. This on the other hand will have twice 2 ravages. So we will lose some Dahan here. And yeah, let's see if he kills the towns. I hope he does. But let's see here. We have 2 damage back. Usually it's not that stupid that he will kill the explorer. Right, and then we have the second ravage, and that will take care of that.
Build jungles.
But we did not get a blight cascade here because we have 2 Dahan that took care of the town. That's not too bad. We only had 1 blight, and we took care of the town, but we lost our Dahan, unfortunately. Now we are at build, and the invaders will not build here. And here we can choose to skip. Let's see if he does. He did not choose to skip here. It doesn't really matter because he can skip the next one instead. So I guess he will do that now. Remember, there are 2 build actions because of poor time. So
Explore
sometimes
mountains.
The AI will do a bit weird stuff, but usually it works out. That doesn't really matter which order he does things. So that's an example of that. So we actually only got 1 build in the jungle, so it looks pretty good. It's not terrible here. We have an explorer in mountains, and this actually does not have a source, so he prevented 1 explorer as well.
Slow powers.
And the explorers in this are prevented from 4 times sideways, so that's actually 3 explorers. So this looks really good. So yeah, maybe Fractured is working better when having 2 players. I have only played Fractured with solo play with the AI, and he does terrible. But Poor Time Sideways is one of those cards you really need 2 boards for it to be effective. So let's see how it works out. Now we have some slow powers. We have visions, where we can look at the top of the card, the invader deck or the event deck. And we have Call to Migrate that can push some Dahan around. And we have 2 damage to explorers, which could really be good here to take care of that build. Then we have taken care of all the builds. That sounds really promising. So first, he can choose to look at the top of the invader deck or the top of the event deck. Let's see what he chooses. Invader deck. So we have wetlands coming up here. This can be good to know. And then we can choose to either return it or we can put the card on the bottom of the deck. Well, we can only do that if we have those elements, and we don't have that, so we don't have any choice here but to return it. So that means we would know now that this is wetland, or one of those two are wetlands, right? Because it is shuffling, right? Shuffle that X top two cards. So we are not sure it is wetlands, but 50% chance to be wetlands. And then we have heat. And he first pushes some Dahan, of which we have lost a lot. Actually, we only have, well, we have 6 Dahan left on this board. But on this board, we have only 1 Dahan left there. So that's one weakness here. Let's see what he does with the Dahan. He gathers some Dahan here. He has up to 3 Dahan that he can gather. He chooses to gather those 2, and then he pushes them. Where does he want them? He wants them in there. Interesting. Or at least one. No, he wants both of them in here. So that, yeah, that's reasonable. He wants the Dahan in the land with invaders. That seems like a good idea. And then we have Scorch with waves of heat. We can do 2 damage. And if he doesn't play it here, it doesn't make sense if it doesn't. So let's see. Yeah, it does that.
Time passes. Turn 3. Grow phase.
So we have all the builds taken care of. And now we have only those ravages to look after. And then we know that it will be a wetlands at some point where we have a lot of invaders. But let's see what he does with the ravages first. Now we are out of almost all cards here, and we have 2 cards left in fractured. Let's start with fractured. Let's see what he does here. Or when I say let's start with fractured, I know that he will first make the move with fractured, and then he will make the move with the other spirits. He always chooses to do the growth options in that order. That's how it's programmed. So he goes with first growth option to get a reclaim here. We get 1 additional air, get a reclaim, and we do gain up to 2 time. So he can choose how much time to go, and usually it's always best to get 2 times. But let's see what he does. He only gets 1 time. Is there a benefit to not get as much time as possible? That seems weird. Sometimes the AI do weird stuff. That's an example of that. I don't think there is a benefit to not go with an additional time. Yeah, sometimes he can't really see the benefit of getting 2 times, maybe because 1 more time here, it doesn't really get more numbers here. So maybe his value for getting time here is incorrect. He should have more value to get more time. So that's something I can adjust. So we have learned something there. That's probably a good idea to give him some more points for getting time. Time is good in general, so we can play these powers. So let's continue, see what heat is growing with. He's going with reclaim. It's reasonable because he doesn't have that many powers left. So he will get power card, and he has 2 energy plus 2. Does he go with minor or major? He goes with minor. And we got some defense. We have spur on with words of fire that have fire and air. And that could be really good. He can play another power card. He can play that on fractured. Or he can play it on himself to get some good elements. So that really can give him a lot of innate levels there. So let's see what he takes. Yeah, he took that one. I'm not surprised because they are heavily weighted to take powers that give the right elements.
Play powers.
So that is what they usually do. So now let's see what they are doing for play. He has 2 card plays. he chooses to do Cycles of Time and Tide again to get more Dahan. And he's playing Purifying Flame. It's kind of an odd combination. He doesn't have any innate, doesn't hit any of his innates. This does damage from per blight here. I'm not sure how he's going to use that. Maybe he wants to remove blight, maybe. I'm not really sure what he's trying to do here. And adding the Han can perhaps be good, but yeah, I'm not seeing any game plan here. Let's move on to Heat's power play. He's playing Sweltering Exhaustion, skip one Ravage. That is of course useful. We have one Ravage coming up here and one here. He cannot reach this one because he doesn't have a Sacred Site, but he can reach this one. And he has one more card play. Uses Spur On with Burst of Fire. But unfortunately, he doesn't have 2 Earth there, so he's not. Well, yeah, maybe he can. He has 1 Earth from this right, so he can hit at least that level right if he gets Fire and Earth. That's interesting because then he can do 4 damage.
Fast powers.
So for fast powers, he plays that. Does he place it on the sub? Yes, he does. So let's see if he plays either Call on Herders or Stinging Sandstorm. That will give him the next level of innate. He does. So he actually got to that level. That's reasonable play. So he can push some Dahan and he can skip an action and then does some damage. That's reasonable. So at least he has a game plan. But Fractured, it seems like he's just adding the Han, which of course is not too bad. And Heat is skipping a Ravish action. Can he actually hit that one? How can he reach that far? It's a Sacred Site. I'm not seeing how we can reach that. All right, 1, 2, that's true. So this Sacred Site is really good. It can almost reach the whole island with range 2. That's amazing. It's just this land that's out of reach. But it chooses to skip this Ravage here. To save those Dahan, and maybe he's building up the Dahan there. Right, so we have Seek New Farmlands. In each land with 2 or more, push 1 town to a land without. Do we have any lands with 2 towns? I don't think we have that, so we just continue. We have 1 board with disease, we get 1 fear, so that's our first fear card. And then we have on each board 2 damage to the Han in a land with disease. We do not have any lands with the Han and disease, so that does nothing. And then during Ravage, the Han only do 1 damage. That does not really affect us.
Fear.
So we have our first fear card, and that is Isolation. Each player removes 1 Explore the Han from a land where it is the only invader. So that does not take care of that Ravage. And we only have this land to choose from because every other land has 2 invaders. So that only does that. We cannot do anything else.
Ravage. Jungles.
So this Ravage is skipped. So nothing here, or we can choose to skip it. We don't have to because it says up to. Let's see if we skip it. Probably should. Yeah. So this one was skipped. And here we lose
Build mountains.
1 presence and we get a blight. But we are still at healthy island. The invaders build, but there is no mountains to build in. Of course, this is the level 0 difficulty, and one can see here that the invaders are not doing that well. So we should be able to pull this off, I think, unless we are screwing up.
Explore. Wetlands.
So invaders explores in wetlands, and this was one of the two options that could happen. And we have an escalation first here on the single board with the most coastal lands, coastal buildings, add one town. So that's here. So we have to add one town somewhere. And hopefully he doesn't add it too much inland. He should probably, well, he probably doesn't want to add it here because this is going to build. Let's see where he puts it, or the two towns. One town he puts it in the wetland, interestingly enough. And then one here.
Slow powers.
Where we have the Han. Right. So maybe his plan is to kill those with Scourge. He has also this land to choose from. One of those is probably the target with Scourge. Let's see how he plays out this. He kills those. So that makes sense. He takes care of one of the builds. And then what do we have? We have one more power here. And we have Purifying Flame. 1 damage per blight from a sacred site. He can kill one explorer here. Is that the best that he can do? Oh, I hit that AI button again, so he did something else, but it doesn't really matter, just the order of things here. So he will gather up to 2 Dahan. So there is no Dahan to gather, and for each present push up to 1 explorer town or Dahan. So what he can do here is he can push some Dahan or explorers. What do we want to do here? What is his plan? He pushes 1 into the mountain that is going to ravage next turn. Maybe he will kill it with a Dahan. Is that his plan? No. He leaves the other there. He just pushes out 1 explorer. Interesting. Maybe he sees that beast and maybe he thinks that beast can take care of that explorer. Perhaps. What does he do with Purifying Flame? He will remove 1 blight, I guess. Yeah.
Time passes. Turn 4. Grow phase.
So it's not terrible. He removed a blight and he got another Dahan here. But other than that, that turn didn't do really much for him. Heat is doing better, I think. He has a lot of good cards here with his elements. He just need to have a little bit more card plays so that he can hit the lower innates. Let's see what he does. First we have the growth option for Fractured. He goes 3rd growth options for once. That means we will get 1 sun here. We can move a presence. Is that something he wants to do? It seems like. Well, he has to do it, but he can move to the same land that he got from. Well, he moved into here. That means maybe he wants to... Right, I'm not sure what that is about. Now he doesn't have a sacred site. And he won't get one either. So that seems a bit weird. So now he gains a power card from days that never were. And what does he want to do here? He has almost no energy, but he can get more energy from that last growth option here. Let's see what he wants to pick here. He actually got Paralyzing Fright, which is really interesting. That is a very good card, of course. Can get a lot of fear, and he actually have absolute status to go with that. And then he only needs 1 more earth. to hit that threshold. So that's interesting that he picks that, even though he doesn't really have the energy for it right now, unless he pumps up the energy. So what does he want to forget here? He forgot cycles of time and tide. Right, and then he can choose time or energy. So we got time. And it goes top track. And then he got some energy here. That means he can play that. And for the third one, he also got more energy. So let's see what heat is growing. Heat is going with the third option. That means he gets one more presence out and he gains another power card. He is really power card hungry, it seems. He's already gotten 2 minor powers with good elements. Let's see what he do with his third power card gain. He keeps going with minor. And what we get here? We get Call to Ferocity, which can be good. He has Fire and Mountain for his third level there in this innate. So that's probably good, best element wise. And this is 0 cost, so that's pretty good. Let's see if you take it. Yeah, took it. You can add a presence. And he will go bottom track. And he puts it in, interesting here, the empty jungle. I'm not sure why, but he's spreading out his presence at least, and we get some energy.
Play powers.
So now it's interesting. We have quite a lot of energy here and 2 card plays. So he's building up a bit energy, and here we have 6 energy. He can get some paralyzing fright going here, which is really good. So let's see what he does with play powers. He does play paralyzing fright. I'm not surprised. The AI really loves fear. And what else? To go with that, Pour Time Sideways again. Of course, this is a really good card. It can prevent a lot of fears, a lot of invader actions, and together with Paralyzing Fright, this skips all actions. So this can skip both those builds or ravages or whatever in that other island. So I like that play. That seems really good. What about heat? He's playing Stinging Sandstorm. Can do some damage here. And Gift of the Searing Heat. That puts him at the first level here. And not much else. He gets some energy. Right. So it's one of those moves, maybe that one of those turns that he's building up some energy, maybe to get 3 card plays next turn with a reclaim and a major perhaps. Let's see.
Fast powers.
He pays 1 energy to do 1 damage in one of their lands. Interesting. So he wants to kill either that explorer or that town. Why can't he kill that explorer? Okay, so target spirit he chose. Oh, he has to play it on another spirit. Right. So he cannot play it here. He must play it in one of Fracture's lands. Right, so that takes care of that town. And which will take care of some explorers here, so that he cannot explore in some lands. I guess that's reasonable. Let's see what he plays next. We have Pour Time Sideways. And now we can skip invader access in one of the boards, and he chose this one that takes care of those builds. and he moves it to this board. So we will have 2 build actions here, and we will have 2 ravages here, which doesn't matter. So he probably wants to skip all actions in this land then. And he can do that because he has a sacred site now, and that's exactly what he does.
Event.
So that's a really good move here. He has prevented all the builds, and we don't have any ravages since before. So he has complete control here. I like that. We now have an event card, Relentless Optimism. And we are at fear level stage 1 still, or fear level 1. So we have this effect for the rest of this turn. Don't generate fear for destroying buildings. Right. Maybe we didn't plan on destroying too many buildings anyway, so that doesn't really hurt us, I think. On each board in the land with the most combining various plus the Han, add 1 disease. 2 damage to the Han. Right, is this action something that we do twice? Each board, each land. Yeah, this is on each board effect, I guess. So I guess we are doing this twice then. Let's see if the client is correct here, and we are doing it twice. In the land with the most combining various plus the Han, add 1 disease. So we should add a disease and kill 1 Han, and then the disease and kill another Han, I think. Yeah, so that seems to be working. We are of course doing it twice because of poor time sideways. 2 out of 2 spirits have at least 2 Dahan among all it lands, so we get +1 energy for each spirit.
Ravage. Mountains.
So we got energy there. And now we are doing some ravages. We're doing it twice here.
Build. Wetlands.
But that doesn't really matter. And the invader builds.
Explore. Mountains.
But we don't have any build because we are skipping it in this island, and this have skip all actions, and this is empty. And now we have explores, and I think it's going to explore everywhere. No, it's not going to explore here because of poor times again. So we will have some explores here then. But first we have the escalation, of course, so we have to add some towns. And this is not an effect that is skipped by poor times. I think this is not considered each board. This is just a single board. So this is correct.
Slow powers.
Right, and then we got the explorers here. And now we have some slow powers, but not too many. And we don't get any fear for these damage. So let's see what he wants to do with that. Here he can kill 2 explorers, but he chooses this first. I can gather up to 1 and then do 1 damage. Right. And of course, if we have a sacred site, invaders have -1 health. So we can, for example, kill that town. Let's see where he does this. He goes here. And he gathers this and kills 1 explorer. I'm not sure why he did that. That way maybe, yeah, maybe he can combine it with this guy to clear one of those lands.
Time passes. Turn 5.
And that
Grow
is exactly
phase.
what he did. He chose to clear this build here. It's completely reasonable. And now we are at turn 5. Let's start with fractured. We are doing the second growth option. Gain a power. And now he is going major power. That's very interesting. He can get some. No, he cannot get any more energy here. He can add 1 presence, get 4 energy. But that's not a lot. Oh, we got really cheap majors here. Very interesting. And he chose Tiger's Hunting. That's not too bad of a card, I think. And maybe he can even... No, he doesn't have animals. That's a problem with this threshold. But he will play with some beast here. I get some fear. Not too bad, but he has to forget 1 card. I hope he doesn't forget Paralyzing Flight. Didn't he choose to forget Purifying Flame? It's completely reasonable. And he has to push 1 power card to the days, and he choose Dissolve the Bonds of Kinship to be kept in the days. And then we have 1 presence. He goes bottom track. Maybe he's heading for opening up 3 card plays here. Or maybe he's planning to use this option to unlock 3 energy. Oh, he opened up 3 card plays with that. Maybe he's doing this again 1 time. Yeah. So he adds all the energy. Interesting. So he got 3 energy, 4 energy, and 3 card plays. So he can do some stuff there. What about heat? He's going reclaim. And he gets a major also. That makes sense because he has a lot of energy. It's not the best cards maybe. Pillar is rather bad. And also Cleansing Flood is rather expensive. Terrifying Nightmares though is a really good card, but he doesn't have any threshold, but maybe he can do something with that. Right, let's see what he picks here. He goes with Pillar of Living Flame. Well, of course, he has a lot of fire cards, so he can do a lot of damage with that if he can hit enough card plays. Maybe that is his plan. Let's see. And he forgets something, and he forgot Call to Ferocity. Right. And 1 more energy.
Play powers.
So now we have 7 energy, and here we have 4 energy. And a lot of card plays here, and here we have 2 card plays. Let's go with Fractured first. We play Absolute Status. This can take care of 1 Ravage or 1 build. We have the Past returns again. And what this does is it swaps the top card of the Invader deck with the card of the Invader discard. That can be good here. You can swap 1 level 2 against 1 level 1 to make it a bit easier. And what is the 3rd card he playing? Tiger's Hunting. So that gives him the 1st and 2nd level of Slip the Flow of Time. So he can do some shenanigans with that. Let's see what he does with that. Interesting. So that was Fractured. And then we have Heat. He plays Call to Migrate. And Spur on with Burst of Fire. That is interesting because then he can play 1 more power and hit the second level here. You can play either Stinging Sandstorm or Colon Heroes, I guess, to get an Earth. Maybe that is what he's doing. Not sure what he's going to do with the Dahan, but maybe he has a plan.
Fast powers.
So what does he do first here? He goes with Slip the Flow of Time. So this will be interesting. So what this does is we pay 1 time and we can use it any number of times, this power, and it costs 1 more time, and we have 7 times here, so we have saved up a lot. So he can do this a lot of times. And what he can do is may resolve 1 slow power now. And what slow power does we have? We don't have any slow powers. So I'm not sure. Well, target spirit may resolve 1 power, so he can play it on here. Maybe he can resolve. Can he resolve that one? Can resolve this to take care of some explorers, or we can play Call to Migrate. Yeah, let's see what he's doing here. I'm not sure. So on which do we target this? Yeah, it makes sense he targets it on heat because Fracture doesn't have any slow powers. So heat can resolve 1 slow power now. Let's see which one he wants to resolve. Call to Migrate. Right. What's his plan here? So he gathers the Han here. Is he setting up a defense for A2 maybe? No. Yeah, so he's playing really weird here. He's playing Call to Migrate, but he's skipping, which means that didn't do anything. Sometimes the AI is working in mysterious ways, and this is clearly mysterious, but maybe he doesn't really care about the first effect here. Maybe he's more interested in the second effect. Target spirit may reclaim 1 power card from the discarded or played cards. If they reclaim a card from play, they lose its elements. But that doesn't also really make sense because, well, he can reclaim this again. That was his plan. He does do that. Right, so he lost his elements there, which really doesn't make sense. I'm not sure how he's thinking there. But let's go with it. Let's continue and see how this plays out. He plays Spur On with Burst of Fire. And now he plays it on Fractured. Interesting. So he may play another power card by playing his cost. And he has only this card to play, so he plays that one. And now we have the interesting situation where he have 4 cards in play, so he hits all the innate here, as we can see. And he can choose to play this multiple times, but I'm not sure if we had any cards to play that with, so it doesn't really make sense unless he can get some slow powers going here from the 3rd option. Right, so let's see what he does next. He plays the past returns again. So this uses n times, so that's 2 times, because we have 2 players and we have to pay 2 energy jointly. We have quite a lot of energy. First we return 2 presence here. and he returns them at the top track. And then he has to pay 2 energy. So Fracture pays 1 energy, and Heat pays 1 energy. And then we can swap the top card of the invader with a card in the invader discard. So we can choose one of these to end up at the top of the deck. Swap the top card of the invader deck with a card in the invader discard. So the question is, where do we want him to explore, basically? And he chooses jungles. Okay. Now we know there's an explore coming up, jungles. Perhaps a good choice. He has 2 empty lands here in jungles that are in reach. And what next? He plays Slip the Flow Time. Let's see how it works now. He is playing it on Witch Spirit, Heat again, and he has to pay 1 time. Now he can resolve a slow power, and he can resolve this one, but this one doesn't have any levels. I'm not really sure if that should be possible even. This should do nothing. I don't think you're supposed to be able to even target that, even if it doesn't nothing, because it doesn't have any levels here. Okay, but that doesn't really matter. Target spirit may reclaim 1 power card from the discarded or played cards. So that that should not be possible either. It doesn't have any discarded or played cards, so he can only skip it. And now he can play a power card by Pain's Cost. Now this is a good effect, because now he has a 3rd level, so this is more useful. So let's see what he can play here. He has a lot of energy. So he played Stinging Sandstorm. But I'm not sure why he discarded that, or he put one of these cards to hand before. That made him loses that innate, so it's a bit weird here. But let's flow with it. Now he plays it again. Now he has to play 2 times. Plays it again here. So he can resolve 1 power slow power now. And now we can resolve Stinging Sandstorm immediately. He does that, and that gathers 1 presence and can do 1 damage. So he already has a Sacred Site there, so he doesn't need to gather it, and that is what he does, and he can kill that town. Of course, this is not ravaging, building, nor exploring, so this was mostly just to get rid of 1 town and maybe some explorers. Yeah, let's see. Now he doesn't have enough time to play that again. But he has a lot of other powers here that he hasn't played. First, we are not done with this yet. Target Spirit may reclaim 1 power card. Right, so he reclaims this one. And he can play 1 more. And he plays Calls to Herders for aid. Interesting. Right, so maybe he pushed the other powers to hand so that he can play them next turn. Could that be it? But he has a lot of powers. and not that many card plays. And he has already played this power now, so he cannot play it again. Let's continue. He plays Tigers Hunting. And he doesn't have many targets for that, but he can. He played it here. So yeah, he can gather that town and kill that town, which is very good because then this land is isolated here and we can skip on explore. And he pushes that beast to the coast. And he can actually push up to 2 beasts. Yeah, so that's reasonable. That's really good actually. He took care of that explorer and that town here. He will ravage in this land still unless he do something with absolute status maybe. But he doesn't have a sacred site, so he can only do it here. So let's see where he plays that. It should play it here, right? Or maybe there. Okay, so that takes care of the explorer, which is not totally unreasonable. But I'm not sure what good that is. That cost 1 time also. Well, I guess take care of that explorers, not too bad. And now we don't have any explorers here. So we have blur the arcs. They build and ravage. Yeah, where does he want to play that one? Interesting. He can remove. Okay, so he can remove blight, but I didn't do that. Instead, he added 1 more Dahan and probably is going to push them in here, perhaps. That could be good. No, he pushed it in here. At least 1 Dahan. Let's see what the other Dahan goes. Also in here. So he can repeat this power by spending 1 time. No, he doesn't do that. So I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe he wanted some Dahan in here to get more. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that. But let's continue. Provincial seat. On each board, choose a land with cities, build there. So we actually only have 2 cities, and this is the starting cities. So he has been doing good with that, keeping the cities low. First, he's going to build here, but we have diseases, luckily. And then he's going to build here, and that's a town. Then on each board, push up to 2 explorer from a land with beasts. So we have 2 boards that this is going to happen in. So let's see what's happening here. He can push some towns here. Where are you going with those? Pushed 1 town here. And on this board, he pushes 1 explorer. I can push it in here to take care of that explorer in the ravage, but he didn't do that. I'm not sure why. He pushed it in here, which seems... Oh, he can push 2, so maybe the other explorer is going in there. can also skip, but he does push this explorer. And he does that. Okay, so that makes sense because we have a ravage coming up and these explorers will die. And then we have on each board, gather one Dahan into a land with Dahan. Defend one per Dahan. And he did that here. I guess there was nothing better maybe to do there. And here, interesting. So he gets 2 defense here. And that's not enough, but maybe if we have something in the fear card.
Fear.
Each player adds 1 strife in a different land with at least 2 invaders. A different land. So we can strife that city in there. Oh, it's not ravaging. Why did he want to have defend here if it's not ravaging? That doesn't make sense. So it's the wetlands, of course, that's ravaging. So why did he do that? Not really sure. One good target could perhaps be the city in A2. But let's see where he adds them. We add one in D2. The town, interesting enough. And then one more, and we cannot use the same land. He did not strive the city, which surprises me because then it will blight there. He instead added strife in the jungle, in the town there.
Ravage. Wetlands.
Okay, invaders ravage in wetlands. So we will have no here, but we will have 1 blight here, 1 blight here, and then a cascade. Let's see in which order he does this. Takes this first. And this will cascade. So we will get blighted island here. And we get downward spiral. At the start of each invader phase, each spirit destroys 1 of their presence. So that means the clock is ticking now. This will happen next turn. We will lose 2 presence each turn. Okay.
Build. Mountains.
And mountains is building, but we don't have any builds there.
Explore. Jungles.
And now we have 2 jungles taken care of. We only have 1 explorer here and 1 here.
Slow powers. Time passes. Turn 6. Grow phase.
Wait, I think I skipped something there, didn't I? Yeah, I mistakenly skip remaining powers. That's we should definitely not do. We have visions of shifting future and call on hers for aid. Let's see what the computer does. Place vision of shifting future, and now we can choose to look in the invader deck or the event deck. And the computer chooses the invader deck. So the top card is jungle. And now since we have a stage 2 and a stage 3, we can actually figure out where that jungle goes. If he puts it on the top and shuffle it, of course we can put it on the bottom of his deck. That would be bad, because then we will have stage 3 next turn. So let's see what he does. He did put it on the top. And then we have some slow powers. Call on herders for aid. What will he do with that? So he will push some invaders out over there on the top left land. So he gathers one of the wounded. The Han can gather up to one more. He chose not to. I guess he can push that town away so that he only builds a town instead of a city, and he can actually put it in here to kill it. That wouldn't be too bad to play. He does
Time
that.
passes. Turn 6. Grow phase.
So that takes care of that town, and we don't build a new city. So we are at turn 6 now. And hopefully Fractured reclaims here because he has no cards in his hand. He does reclaim. And he gets up to 2 times. Hopefully he chooses 2 times. But you never know. He did that. And you get 1 time from the bottom track. And 1 from the top. What about heat? He has a lot of cards, so he probably will go 2 or 3. He went 3 with either minor or a major. Both seems plausible. He went with minor. So what did we get here? We got some defense. And we didn't get his elements directly, but probably this is one of the better one. Let's see what it takes. Went with Shadows of the Burning Forest. This has a fire and it's a 0 cost card, so probably that is why you chose that. And it's also Fear, which the AI loves. So Shadows of the Burning Forest. And he can put out 1 more presence. From where? From bottom track. So that opens up 3 card plays. And he placed it here and created another sacred site.
Play powers.
So now we have 2 card plays here for Fractured and 3 for Heat. Here we are a bit energy starved here, but he can play Tiger Sounding together with Past Returns again, perhaps. He played only Tiger Sounding. Maybe he didn't really need that innate, and maybe the Past Returns again wasn't too bad, too good for him. But maybe he saw something with Tiger Sounding here. Let's see what he does. 3 card plays. Played Pillars of Living Flame. That's reasonable, I guess, but it will do that in the slow phase. And it can't really place it in wetlands and jungles without adding a blight, and that's not very good here. Okay, but he played this one, and he has 2 more card plays. Can't get a threshold, unfortunately. We'll need 1 more card place for that. So he played Stinging Sandstorms and Shadows of the Burning Forest. That is quite a lot of fear, so maybe he's going for 2nd level fear level here.
Fast powers.
So let's go with Tiger Something first. And he can play that in some various places, but he chose to play it in land number 2, which makes sense because he has a beast there, and he can gather this beast. So this will do some damage here. Gather up to 1 beast. He doesn't have to gather it if he doesn't want to. He probably wants to. No, he did not want to gather that one. So he wanted to do only 2 damage. Interesting. So 2 damage only. So he didn't want to kill that city. That is kind of weird. He instead chose to kill that town. Right? And he can push those beasts if he wants to. He pushes this out to the desert. What other beast? He skipped the other beast. So yeah, now he will build a town instead of a city. If he kills a city, he will build a city. So I guess that kind of works out equally, except he only gets 1 fear this way. So I think he missed out on 1 fear there. He could have used that beast if he wanted to, but maybe he wanted to spread his beasts, it seems like. He valued that higher.
Blighted Island.
Well, let's continue. Now we destroy some presence. Chose this one, which makes him lose access to the inner island here for fractured. But maybe he didn't really have a good presence to remove. Fractures is down to 3 presence now.
Event.
And at this point we get Numinous Crisis. Really interesting. The spiritual energy of the island weakens as life connection grow, even more tattered. So what does this do then? We remove 1 blight per player from the blight card. Then if the blight card is not flipped, removing until it flips. It is already flipped. So this doesn't do really much. Just removes 1 blight per player. Then we gain some energy. Let's see what it does. He can also pay stuff to avoid that effect and get some more blight. I think this is not too bad. Well, he chose Pour Your Strength here, which means he has to pay 3 energy, forget 2 power cards, or return 1 to the tracks all, which is pretty bad. And this is for each spirit. First out is Fractured here. He chose to forget 2 power cards. This doesn't bode well. And he removed Absolute Stasis. And he has to remove 1 more. This is probably not the best play here. Blur the arcs of years. So he really sacrifices a lot of things there. Perhaps for heat is not as bad. He has a lot of cards, but he also forget 2 power cards. He chose to forget Gift of Searing Heat. And 1 more, Call to Migrate. So yeah, that was rough to say the least, but at least we get 2 light to the blight card. And then we have 2 boards with disease, so that's 2 fear. That should give us stage 2. And no more lands with Tahan and disease.
Fear.
And what did this last thing do? When invaders ravaged if the land has Taha defend 2. That doesn't really matter because it's a strife already there. But now we get a fear card and we are at level 2. Each player chooses different damage Tahan. In each 1 damage and defend 3. So that can take care of that build in Explorer, I think. And can we do something else with that? We can kill a city here, maybe. No, it's just 1 damage and defend 3. I read that incorrectly, so that doesn't take care of that. And we have to choose a different land. All right, so let's see what he does with that. He places it here. He can do 1 damage to the city. Or kill 1 explorer. Did 1 damage to the city, maybe he can kill it later. And then he probably kills an explorer here, I would assume.
Ravage. Mountains.
Right. So here we have 1 land that takes care of the town.
Build. Jungles.
And here
Explore. Jungles.
Yeah, we get 1 town here and 1 town here. Then we have an escalation. So what is this? Yeah, that doesn't matter. And you probably should put it here where we have sacred sites that removes health from the towns.
Slow powers.
Making them a bit easier to kill. So now we have 2 damage here, we have some damage here, we have 2 fear here, and here we have a lot of damage. But we really shouldn't play this in wetlands and jungles, and unfortunately all the invaders are at those terrains. What about fractured? Fractured has nothing to play here. So it is really heat that is doing the heavy lifting here. So first we start with 2 damage. This can take care of 1 of the towns maybe. We have a town here that he kills. No, chose to kill the explorer. How can we understand that? Not sure we do understand that. Sometimes I don't know. Or will you combine it with something else? This can push those out of there, maybe. Where will you want to push the explorer? To the beast. Okay. And the town goes to the other town. That seems more reasonable. So at least he skipped some stuff here. Let's see where he placed Pillars of Living Flame. Will he take a blight or will it? He chose to kill the towns here and get some fear and avoid that blight. Maybe he kind of like those blights. The blight card. That does take care of those towns. And can he do something with this? Well, he probably should be able to kill that town, it seems like. Yeah. He didn't gather. He doesn't need to. 1 fear and he,
Time passes. Turn 7. Grow phase.
Town. So that was his plan all along, maybe, when he killed that explorer. Right. So we have 2 cities left and some towns. We are up in a jungle ravage. So we have some lands to consider here. We are at turn 7. Let's start with Fractured. He has forgotten all his power cards, but he does have Paralyzing Fright. Fortunately, hopefully he will use that to great effect. And now he wants new power cards. And he found Bird's Cry Warning. Somewhat good element-wise, perhaps. So this saves the Hun. Or moves them around. He really hasn't taken advantage of his days this game, except for getting that Paralyzing Fright, which is not too bad. So we go top track, put out a very needed presence. So we get a Sacred Site there. Maybe he needs that for Paralyzing Fright. That is what it goes for. Can he get that many energy though? It seems like he cannot. That's a problem. Goes 3 card plays. That means he can play these then. Okay, so what about Heat? Heat reclaims. Reasonable, he has only 1 card to play otherwise. So he goes minor or major. He has only 3 energy, so hopefully he goes minor. He did go major here, which is a bit surprising. And he found some really good cards here. Instruments of Their Own Ruins, of course, very good. Unearth a Beast of Wrathful Stone is a very nice card. But he did choose this one, and maybe not so surprising, it is Fire and Air, and it is in itself a very good card. He cannot play it this turn though. And what does he want to give up here? He gave up Spur On with Burst of Fire.
Play powers.
Now he has 3 card plays. Cannot play his majors. Fracture plays Burst of Cry Warning. Probably these 2 as well. That will give him some levels here. But he didn't play the past returns again. Interesting. He saved that one for some reason. Maybe he wants to pair it up with Paralyzing Fright next turn. That could be it, perhaps. But yeah, that is what he did. What about Heat? Heat has 3 card plays. If he plays Sweltering Exhaustion, though, he can play 3 card plays still. We'll have to play Shadows of the Burning Forest and one of those if he wants to hit his innate there. So that combination made him hit both levels.
Fast powers.
So Fracture are back to playing 4 times sideways. This will be able, he will be able to prevent both Ravaging builds in one island, which can be really good here because we have a lot of jungle actions. So he chose to skip those in this board, which means he will ravage twice here. That seems dangerous because there's a blight there. This maybe is not so dangerous, but there's a town and a city. Yeah, so I'm not sure if that is a good idea. How is he going to take care of that problem here? Well, he could maybe play Burst Cry Warning there to kill first the town and then the explorer, I guess. That still is a lot of blight. But he did do that. So Port Time Sideways is now active. So we have double actions in the left island. Where will he play Burst Cry Warning? He could also push those Dahan in there. He did neither of those things. Instead, he pushed those Dahan. Or, yeah, probably push them somewhere, maybe in here, to kill that explorer. That makes sense. So he skips the builds, but he doesn't do that. Instead, he did that the next time. Dahan will be destroying target land, destroy 2 fewer Dahan. Which doesn't make sense. Why would he do that here? Seems like there is some problem here with the algorithm, that it tries to do something first and then suddenly he misses the opportunity. Yeah, this choice seems incorrect for sure. What he wants to do there is push those Dahan in here, so that the ravage, so the explorer is dead in the ravage, and then we skip the builds. But that didn't work. Right, so what does it do instead then? We still have this card. And this also makes no sense. It's starting to play really weird here. So I'm not sure why that is. This doesn't skip anything except maybe one explore.
Blighted Island.
But that is what he did. So we remove some presence.
Event.
And we have an event. Tight-knit communities is not triggered, but blight spreads are. And on each board, add 1 blight to a land adjacent to a land with blight. So on which board are we doing this first? And then he can destroy 2 presence if he want to protect himself. So he do that here. So he can either add 1 blight, that doesn't seem too bad. That surely is better than destroying 2 presence at this point. So that's again a very weird choice. We have downward spiral and we don't have many presence here. It doesn't seem right to destroy those presence just to save 1 blight when we have 12 blight on our card. And then we have to do that again because, right, we have Port Time Sideways. So we do it twice on this board and no times on this board. Yeah, I keep forgetting that this also applies for event cards, which make me think that the client actually was correct that time, where we moved the disease. That was an event, wasn't it? And I'm sure we had port time sideways. That's why we moved the disease twice. I think we had port time sideways that turn. Let's see, we can go back. What turn was it? It was in the beginning here somewhere. I think maybe turn 2. We had an event. We pushed some disease. Did we play port time sideways? Yes, we did play that. So that's why we should have moved. That was actually correct. We should have pushed it twice because of port time sideways. I'm pretty sure that this says on each board. Yeah, on each board push one disease. Right, so we actually, the client was correct, we played it incorrect, but we are not going to fix that. Was so long ago, so probably it will have too many repercussions if we want to try to fix that. So right, so this is, we do this one more time. We add one blight, and now we don't have any presence to destroy on this island, so we have to add one blight. So why is he adding it where we already have a blight? Now the AI plays more and more weird for every turn here. This seems not correct, because if we add it, it will cascade, of course. And that means we have to add one more blight. That was a really poor choice from the computer, to say the least. But that is what it did. As you can see, there are room for improvement here, for sure. And then each piece destroys. That is every land should do that. But why isn't this destroyed then? Each board, each land, one fewer time. Right. So this doesn't apply on this island, unfortunately. So we lost some opportunity to kill some explorers there. That doesn't matter. And then we don't have any boards without beast. On each board, add one Dahan to a coastal land with Dahan. We don't have any coastal land with Dahan. So nothing happens here. Right, so let's move on to fear phase.
Fear.
So we have defend 2 in all lands. We really need defend 3 here, unfortunately. So that is too bad.
Ravage. Jungles.
Because we didn't have any other defend. No, we did not. Right, so now we have double ravages here. And this will ravage one more less time, so it doesn't happen anything here. This will ravage twice, it doesn't matter, just an explorer. But here we have something happening. This unfortunately dies. We have a blight cascade, and let's hope he doesn't cascade into this land. But you never know. Phew. Yeah. So he cascaded here. And then did we have 2 Dahan in here? Why isn't that dead? Did we play Bird's Cry Warning here? Or something? Did we have 2 Dahan? Let's see, 1 damage, 1 damage. The damage is saved, destruction from Bird's Cry Warning. So did we actually play it in here? I thought he played it here. So that might be an issue. So now I understand why the AI played so weirdly at this move. It seems really weird that he played that here, burst cry warning, but it seems like there is a bug here that makes that effect also affect this Tahan. Now he could have played it here, so this is actually what he wanted to do. But it seems like this effect spread incorrectly to this land somehow. I will look it up and fix it for the future, but for now I'm going to allow this to be like that. He could have played it here, so that's not a problem. So this is what he wanted to do. So this makes it a lot better, because the first ravage he can kill that town, and then he has defend 2 and he can kill the other, and then we won't have those builds. So that works out really well. It makes sense that the engine thought this was as good as playing it here then, because of the bug. The engine didn't see the bug. It was just a bug in the client. So he kills the explorer, it doesn't really matter. Unless he makes 1 damage to this guy. Hopefully not. Oh, why? Why would you do that? Okay, so the hand doesn't die, so it doesn't really matter, but he got 1 extra damage. That's hilarious. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Build jungles.
But it is amusing that he chose to do it in that particular way. So the invaders build, and now he builds twice here, unfortunately.
Explore jungles and sands.
And now the stage 3 cards begin.
Slow powers.
But that was not a lot of explorers, and that's because we skip all actions here, and those did not have a source. So this starts to look really nice. We have only 3 cities, and we have prevented a lot of ravages, and we have a lot of empty lands. So let's see, let's move on. Visions of a shifting future. We can look at an event or an invader card or an invader deck. See, he looks at the top card of the invader deck. The top card is mountain and wetlands. So he can put it, we'll have to put it back and then shuffle. So mountain and wetlands are coming up soon. And now it's Heat's turn. He can do some damage, probably kill a city here if he combines things. First we have 2 fear. And he has no valid lands to play that though. Is that really correct? He has only presence here. Oh, that's a bummer. And then what else? He should be able to kill that city, I think. He can do 1 damage here to the city and then play the innate there. That's exactly what it seems like his plan is. Yeah.
Time passes. Turn 8. Grow phase.
So that was totally reasonable. Now we have only 2 cities left and just 1 fear card here. So that we are really close now to winning. He will ravage here. He'll ravage here. Maybe he can set up some defense here. We don't have any defense card though. So let's see if we can pull this off. Seems like it should be doable. I mean, we have 4 fear just for this card. And if he goes third growth option, he can get an energy to get that. So this is 4 fear. And that's almost turn level 3 then. Move a presence. And we are rapidly running out of presence here. He removed those presence before for that event. That means we will have only 1 presence after downward spiral. So he actually chose to not move them at all. He will get 1 card from these. What does he want here? He picked this guy. This can gather, push, and isolate. Okay, what is he going to do with that then? So let's see if he gets energy here or time. First, we have some energy. That's good. Now he has at least 4 energy. He has only 1 presence to get for time. Now he has 4 energy and 1 time. Okay, that's reasonable. And heat gains a power card. Maybe another major. Seems like he loves those. No, he went with minor this time. And he went with Sunset Fire Furrows across the land. So that's fear and damage. Okay. And we have a presence. We can have 3 energy here or 4 card plays. What does he fancy? He wants energy. I can probably pull playing this off, right? In the fast phase to kill 1 city. But he will need a sacred site, and that is a problem.
Play powers.
So Fracture plays Set them on an ever-twisting trail. Can play everything he has here. He does play Paralyzing Fright, and hopefully he plays also the Past Returns again. No, he don't. Why doesn't he do that? He doesn't want to swap the top card of the Invader deck with a card in Invader discard. Probably should do that, right? Maybe he feels like this is wasting more things than he gets. Seems like. What about heat? Place Pillars of Living Flame. So this is 3 fear and 5 damage. So we have 4 fear here and 3 fear here. This can of course take care of one of the cities. So if we can take care of the other cities somehow and not have any other cities popping up, we should be golden. And he only plays that power. Interesting. Well, he didn't have energy to play anything else, did he?
Fast powers.
So maybe not that interesting. So we do have 4 fear and a skip. And this can isolate. What does he want to do with that? I'm not sure. He has some plan with this gather or push. Can take care of that build. Seems like that maybe what he do. If he do gather 1 explorer here. Yeah. So that is isolated and it will be dead from the ravage, and that took care of the build. So that was good. This will skip all actions, probably will play it here. So skip that ravage and build. That will skip that city build. Yeah.
Blighted island.
That was totally okay. And now we have to kill 2 presence. Fractures are down to 1 presence left here.
Event.
And now we have an event. Invaders immediately ravage in 1 terrain type, not showing under any invader action. Spears may prevent that by destroying 2. Well, he can choose mountains or something, and that will not do anything. So hopefully he picks mountains. Picking wetlands would be really stupid. Now we don't actually see. So this is one point here. I haven't made that red outline for this particular query here to pick a terrain, but we can step forward and see what he did. He picked mountains, as you can see here, and he on this board he cannot destroy 2 presence, luckily, so he will ravish there. Here he has the option to kill 2 presence instead of ravaging, which of course is totally bad, so hopefully he doesn't do that. But I'm starting to distrust this AI. Sometimes he do very weird stuff, but he didn't do that. That was good. Okay, so no lands to ravage in. That's really good. Right, and then we have add 1 beast to a land without light that has town. So we have to pick this land. And on this board we have to pick this land. It's only 1 without light. So that can be good for our tigers hunting, because this is fast and 2 fear, so that couldn't take care of that city in fast phase next turn. That seems promising, and we should be able to kill that city. I think we have it here, haven't we? During ravage in every land, defend 1 per Dahan in the land. Does that do anything? We get some defense here, but that's not enough to save those Dahan.
Fear.
But now we have tread carefully. Each player may choose a land with Dahan or adjacent to at least 3 Dahan. Invaders do not ravage there this turn. That will help us. He can skip the ravage here then. Let's see if he does that. He skips this land. which is totally unnecessary. But he do have 2 skips, so maybe he will skip this now. Yeah.
Ravage. Jungles.
So now he ravages, and this will just die. This is skipped. This will
Build. Jungles and sands.
this will also be skipped because of that paralyzing fright there. So no blight, and then he builds, and he will not build here, and not build here, and not build here, and he will build a town here and a town here, I think.
Explore. Sands and mountains.
Right, and now we will explore, but that's just a bunch of explorers.
Slow powers.
So now if I am not calculating this incorrectly, he should be able to blow this one up. This is range 2. So this should be 1 city gone, and that's enough fear to get to stage level 3. And then in the fast phase, we should be able to take care of that city with tigers hunting. That should be foolproof plan. Let's see if we can find that. He did not do that. Instead, he went with this target. That seems unfortunate. 5 damage.
Time passes. Turn 9. Grow phase.
At least that didn't give him a blight. Maybe he did want to avoid the extra blights here. And maybe he saw some other win. Let's see if we can win in the fast phase anyways. Might be possible. He did not reclaim. Instead he went bottom track. Maybe he sees something in days here that can win. He only has 1 presence. So how is he going to do that? He's going to lose that and lose the game. In the blight phase. He has to win in the fast phase here. Maybe he has found some good city removing power here. Remove up to 3 blight and up to 3 health worth of invaders. That could work. Could absolutely work. But that only takes care of 1 city. Maybe heat can take care of the other one. The fast phase. Let's hope. We will have enough energy to play Dream of the Untouched Land. And what can heat do in the fast phase? He can play Instruments of Own's Ruin. Perhaps. But is that enough to kill a city? He picked 3rd growth option. Okay. What does he want here? Maybe he's fishing for a major that can do something in the fast phase. Did we get something here that can destroy a city in the fast phase? Can he get 7 energy? No. But entwine power. No, that's not enough also. Let's see what it takes. He took entwined power. And he has to forget something. Add 1 presence somewhere. But he has to win in the fast phase here. This is the problem. I'm not sure he will be able to do that. It seems like he had the chance to play that power there and take care of that city.
Play powers.
He does play Dream of the Untouched Land. That will remove 1 city in the fast phase, but we do have 2 cities. And he played the past returns again. This will not be enough, right? Because that's just 2 damage. We don't have any other powers. That is fast. Just plays entwined powers and nothing else.
Fast powers.
So it seems like he's giving up, maybe. First, he played Slip the Flow of Time. That's just reclaim. That won't do much. Reclaim Tiger's Hunting. Maybe he has some weird plan here. Target Spirit gains a power card. So he gives Fracture a major here. That's too late. Death falls gently. And he forgets the past returns again, which is kind of hilarious. That's one of the cards that he played. And then he can keep 1 card to the days, sweep into the sea. What did he do then? Target spin, gain a power card, you gain 1 of the power cards that not keep, so he can keep 1 also. So he picked Infinite Vitality. And then he has to forget 1 power card to that major. And then we can resolve 1 more. I can't even resolve it here, because it doesn't have a sacred site. So that's very unfortunate. So he resolved it here instead.
Blighted Island.
And now we run out of presence, unfortunately. So that's it for that game. It was close, rather close, I think. Maybe he could have played it a little bit different in the end to win. Yeah, we are at level 3 and we only have 2 cities left. But yeah, he made several very dire mistakes. He removed those presses. For example, if he didn't do that, I think he would have a sacred site and would survive at least 1 more turn. Okay, so this was game 1 in this campaign. And what happens now is we have to retire one of these spirits, and I think I know which one to retire. We will retire Fractured, because Heat did a lot better this game for sure. I think, well, he did have his poor time sideways. That was pretty cool. So yeah, that took care of a lot of things, but nevertheless, I think this works better with Heat in general. It seems like he has a better potential to survive harder adversaries. So what happens now is we go back to campaign here and we select one spirit to retire. We will retire Fracture then. So now we are at game 2, and since we lost, we will make it easier. Now we cannot make it easier than difficulty 1, that is the easiest difficulty. And we will have the spirits that we didn't use will survive now to the next round. So we will have Vengeance and Behemoth from the last turn. We had those spirits that we could use, but now we can also have 2 new spirits, and we got 4 new encounters. And we will look at this game in the next video. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And if I get enough subscribes, I will keep this series going. If people are interested in this kind of games that AI are playing. And yeah, so that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye for now.